Welcome to Roosh Hour 66. 66. Which means extra evil for this stream today. It is July 3rd, 2021. Tomorrow is American Independence Day. I like to start off my stream with a couple of stories. The first story happened when I was walking outside in the afternoon, and I came across a baby blue jay. And I knew the baby blue jay was sick because it let me get within just a couple feet of it without flying away. Its mother was nowhere to be seen. It was opening its mouth, crying and crying, and I didn't know what to do. I could tell it was sick. Its feathers seemed ruffled. It wasn't clean. And this was when there was still a lot of cicadas around, so I grabbed a dead cicada that was nearby, and there were tons of them, and put it next to the baby bird, as in maybe he is hungry and wants something to eat. But the baby blue jay didn't even move towards the cicada, and I was tempted to pick it up and touch it, but I didn't think that would be right, because I knew it didn't want to be touched. It was only sick that it didn't fly away from me. But then it did fly. It got in the air, started flying, and knocked into a car, and then dropped back down onto the ground. And I felt very sad. A part of me said maybe I should take it to a veterinarian and spend $1,000 to rehabilitate this bird so it can be handicapped for the rest of its life and to live in a cage. But I decided not to let nature take its course. And one thing that I have learned is that a lot of baby birds, they don't make it. The natural world is, since the fall of Adam and Eve, is a brutal place. About half of baby birds that come out of the egg, they either fall out of the nest, they starve, or most commonly they get eaten by other birds, bigger birds. So I was pretty sad about this. I love birds, and I have a lot of little. Now I'm starting to collect birds, and but that's how nature is now. So we have to, I guess, deal with it. And then a few days after that, I was walking at night. So I've started to go for walks after I eat. I find that it helps keep me active and promotes healthy digestion. And I was walking on a Friday night, and usually Friday night in my neck of the woods is party time. A lot of noise and a lot of activity outside. And I was approaching a car that was parked on the side of the road, and I could hear bass coming out of it. Boom, boom, boom. The windows were closed. I think the air conditioning was on. I don't remember if the car was on or not. But as I walked past the car, I saw a young man sitting in the driver's seat, lighting something up. And I could then smell the familiar odor of marijuana. So I knew that he was getting high in the car while listening to his favorite hip-hop songs. The only way you could complete the picture for that man in terms of the pleasure he was receiving was to add a woman in the passenger seat, but maybe he had a woman in the apartment. I don't know. And then I walked away from that thinking that how far he was from the faith, in the sense of he was going to solve his own problems with these very worldly things, whether music or drugs, and how I was no different. I would go to the nightclub and enjoy electronic music. I would drink alcohol. I would pursue the flesh. And at that time, I was spiritually dead. And I don't know the state of that man, but I'm guessing he was in a similar state as I was. And I couldn't help but imagine how I felt for that bird that was dying. Maybe similar to how God feels when we are spiritually dying. I don't know how God feels, I can't claim to. But when we just see a creature that is falling away, that is going to pass, how would it feel for God to see one of his creatures, their souls eternally condemned? And so I felt bad for this man, this black man who was loud and using drugs, because you could see a hint of the spiritual state that he was in. And it's easy to get angry at someone like that who is disturbing your peace and disturbing the walk. But God wants all of us to be saved, and I would imagine it's hard for him to see us use our will concertedly and purposefully to turn against him. So how much greater are our souls than a beautiful baby bird? I wanted to read an excerpt from a book that I'm reading right now called The Field by Saint Ignatius Brianchaninov. Many of you may know he has a more popular book called The Arena. Now let me find page 202 if you have your copy. And let me read. Every person who has wasted his life opposed to God's purpose for him, harming his own salvation and blessedness in eternity, is a thief and a murderer of himself. Such a criminal is given a cross as the last possible means for salvation, so that he, having confessed his crimes and admitted himself worthy of death, would hold on to salvation given to him by God. In order to lessen the sufferings and give consolation during crucifixion, incarnate God himself is crucified and hung on the cross near the crucified sinner. He who complains, murmurs, and hates his sorrows ultimately rejects his own salvation, because by not recognizing and confessing his Savior, he is cast into hell, into eternal and pointless agonies, since he is the one who has completely rejected and turned away from God. End quote. And then, the other day, there was an eviction. Someone was getting evicted from an apartment on the block. And I saw a moving truck arrive with, I kid you not, 13 Hispanic men, either inside the back of the truck or hanging outside. It reminded me of those meme photos of Indian trains. 13 of them. And then the sheriff came after that to evict the people, but the people were not home. They already evacuated. So what the Spanish men did, they went into the house and loaded up whatever junk was left. There wasn't that much, actually. They were done within 1 hour of completely emptying the person's apartment. And then after that, the foreman, the Hispanic foreman, I saw him, I looked out the window, I saw him with a stack of bills. And then all the Hispanic men lined up to get one bill. So I guessed, I couldn't see what the amount was, but I guessed it was a $20 bill for 1 hour of work, which I guess is the going rate in this area. If you pick up a Hispanic man at the Home Depot, $15 or $20 an hour. And then he was giving out the money to each man. And then he arrived at a rather portly man, maybe the same age as me, in his early 40s. And I wish I had, do I have a $20? I want to show you what he did when he got the money. So I have a $10 bill. He got the money, and as soon as he had it in his hand, he did the sign of the cross. He did the sign of the cross and kind of held it up, not to look at it if it was a real bill or not, but to thank God. He thanked God for $20. And I smiled. I was really touched. I asked myself, when was the last time I thanked God for, getting a new monthly check for the books I sold, or for a big donation that someone gave me? Did I do the sign of the cross? For $20, he did it. So I knew that God was really close to him, and all good that he received, he believed that it was given by God. I was extremely touched. I'm pretty sure he was Catholic. There's a strong amount of Hispanic Catholics here. So can we thank God for all that we have? And I'm going to thank God for this coconut juice. So let us get started now. Glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. How is everyone doing on this holiday weekend? Doing good. Roosh hour 66. Well, it could be worse. It could be Roosh hour 666. Okay, so if you want to leave a super chat, then you can click the entropy link below, and I will get to your super chat at the end of the stream. I don't think this is going to be a 5 grillion hour stream. It's probably going to be only 2 or 3 hours. And this stream is brought to you by my book, American Pilgrim, which you can buy from all places that sell paperback books, or go to rooshvstore.com. The feedback I'm getting on it is good enough that I am now inspired to write another book. So thank you for all those who have bought it. This is the main way I earn, or I try to earn, my daily bread. So, hey, Roosh, you're going to need more than one book. Yes, I know. I have to rebuild my book library after banning myself, after canceling myself and all that filth that I had published. Okay, so now I have to express to you that Gay Pride Month, which we should call Gay Terror Month because it is terrorizing us, was harder for me this year than having to go through over a year plus of lockdown. I got sick of seeing gay pride flags in stores in places where sexuality and sodomy had no business. And one of those places was the supermarket. I knew something was up when last year a supermarket I usually go to put a little gay pride screensaver on their checkouts, on their checkout register screens. But this year they outdid themselves. They were selling gay pride balloons in multiple locations in the store. They had a ribbon tied to every checkout aisle. And at the back of in the front of the store on their community board was a huge gay pride flag. And I couldn't help it. I was angry enough that I told the person who checked out my groceries, I said, does the managers of this store want me to buy groceries or meet a gay man? Because everywhere now, especially in June, has to be a gay bar, and I am sick of it. I was so sick that I did the boomer thing of writing a letter to the company. So let's quickly go over the letter I sent and the response that I got back. Okay, how do I use this again? Is that going to do it? Yes. All right, so I'll go over this quickly. Now, I didn't proofread it because I was in rage. All right, so what the retail manager, her name is Miss Phillips Brown. So I said, "Dear Miss Phillips Brown, why are you subjecting me to homosexual propaganda in your Giant stores? Last year, I noticed your checkout screens displayed a gay pride logo, but this year you've made an aggressive increase to your program. There are gay pride balloons and ribbons everywhere and a huge gay flag on your community board. Even your cake section has been infected with a sign promoting the making of gay cakes. I'm flabbergasted as to why you are doing this. What message are you intending to send with this heavy-handed approach? Was Giant so responsible for holding down gays in the past that this is the reparations needed to undo the damage? Do you want me to buy food to feed my family, or do you want me to meet a gay man? How exactly does promoting a niche sexual identity help you sell food? Have gays made demands upon you to add the flags, or they will harm you and your coworkers? If so, they should be brought to justice. I ask you to reconsider your approach, because I can't be the only customer who doesn't appreciate your needless propaganda while I buy organic spinach and cheddar cheese. Sincerely, Roosh Vilizede. And then I get an email back. I was pretty surprised. And Leanne R., I'm guessing she's hiding her last name in case I'm a right-wing extremist and I'm going to hunt her down or something. She says, "Hello, Roosh. Thank you for contacting us. Your email to Christy Phillips Brown has been forwarded to me for a reply. We appreciate knowing your feelings." At Giant Food, we value our stakeholders' diversity, associates, customers, and vendors as one of our greatest strengths. We are committed to fostering and maintaining an open and inclusive environment where all are welcome in our stores and organization. Again, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We will bring it up with our leadership. Yeah, sure. Ooh. So basically they said, buzz off, homophobe. So you're probably wondering who runs Giant Food. Now, get ready to be shocked, because I don't know if you can see it in the bottom. Let me view, open image tab. Okay. They were founded in 1936 by Nehemiah Meyer Cohen and Samuel Lerman. Those names. That was in 1936. Times have changed, right? Times have not changed. The current president is Ira Kress. Ira Kress. That is tractor confirmed. The funny thing is, he became the president in 2020 at about the time that the gay propaganda in those stores rapidly increased. So thank you, Ira. So when you see sodomy, you don't see our small-hatted people far behind, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Now, there was a word in the email that the customer service rep sent me that perked my ears. And that word was stakeholders. She said, let me see it again. She said, we value our stakeholders' diversity. Stakeholders. I'm starting to hear that word often. What does that mean exactly? Here from Investopedia, stakeholder capitalism, and this is what the page says. Stakeholder capitalism is a system in which corporations are oriented to serve the interests of all their stakeholders. Among the key stakeholders are customers, suppliers, employees, shareholders, and local communities. Under this system, a company's purpose is to create long-term value and not to maximize profits and enhance shareholder value at the cost of other stakeholder groups. So what that means is that companies can promote sodomy and transgenderism and Black Lives Matter, even though it hurts their profits, because all these niche groups will be defined as being in their stakeholders. In other words, this is a term for the oligarchs to bludgeon the majority groups, the Christians and the whites in the United States, on top of the head with Marxist agitation. That's all stakeholder capitalism is. We no longer care about money. We care about grinding you down with sodomy. And one sign that you know that this term is going to be used to bring great harm to you and your family is that the WEF, World Economic Forum, is like basically in charge of spreading the values of stakeholder capitalism, where, we're going to spend a lot of money not on profits, but to really elevate the most degenerate and revolutionary causes of our day, and you're going to take it. So get ready. We're going to put gay flags everywhere. And this is all part of our stakeholder capitalism, which is really revolutionary capitalism, which is really oligarchic capitalism, which is not capitalism at all. So stakeholder capitalism, when you hear it, is just a euphemism for oligarchy. And guess what? You are not part of the oligarchy. You're the one that gets the boot stamped on your face from them. So what you're going to see is various groups and companies that have really no interest promoting homosexuality, no interest, no financial interest, even no interest based on the service they provide, promoting this stuff under this guise of it's part of our community and so on. Now, in some cases, this reveals the truth of the matter. And it was recently revealed that the NFL has declared to itself and to the world in a commercial the NFL produced saying football is gay. Something we all suspected. Of these big hulking men on the grass, grabbing on each other, hugging each other, pulling each other down in these tight spandex pants. Under the, and everyone said, this is our gladiator sport. Really? Tight spandex pants? That's what gladiators wear? So let's take a look at the commercial. Okay, so if you're on the podcast, it's on the screen. But anyway, I'll go ahead and read some of the phrases that come out of this. Football is gay. Football is lesbian, beautiful, queer, transgender, bisexual, freedom, American, not anymore. Football is everything. Football is for everyone. And then they say that the NFL proudly supports the Trevor Project, which is a gay charity that, I don't know what they do. But anyway, and I think there was a little logo of the NFL logo in the gay colors. Did that? Or I saw that somewhere else. So there you have it from the horse's mouth. Football is gay. So if you're a straight man that watches football, like many boomers do, you're watching something that the producers of that sport call gay. So you, by default, are you gay? I don't know. I cannot answer that. But whatever the case, you're being groomed to be gay. They want you to accept homosexuality while you watch big black men run around on the field and grab each other. As a personal note, I only watched the NFL until I graduated from college as a way to bond with my dad, because my dad, he loves the NFL. But as soon as I kind of moved away and that bonding time wasn't really there anymore, I completely stopped. I just didn't care. So if you're a father, I would guarantee that your son or daughter, while you watch the game, would probably come up with a list of 100 other things they rather do with you, to bond with you, to receive love from you, than watch the TV and the sports ball game. I would guess. And how is that pushing sodomy doing for the kids channel Nickelodeon? Let's take a look at this. Headline: Viacom struggles with Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon while Disney pulls away. Why is Viacom struggling? Quote, since July of 2017, Nickelodeon's viewership has dropped from 1.3 million average viewers per week to a June 2021 average of only 372,000. In only 4 years, Nickelodeon has dropped more than 2/3 of its audience. This is catastrophically bad for the cable channel, but with cable on the way out, maybe it's not so bad. No, it is bad. So they've lost something like 70% of their audience. Why? Well, what kind of content is Nickelodeon pushing? Here it is. On their YouTube channel, to over 9 million subscribers, they had a video called The Meaning of Pride, featuring drag queen Nina West. And then I talked about, I think, on the previous stream, how they were pushing really disgusting ideas about multiple men, families, and I guess they were calling it non-binary. Here they push it onto a very popular kids show called Blue's Clues. And this is a show for basically 3-year-olds. Could that have something to do with it? That parents are like, I don't want my child to be groomed with tranny propaganda. Now, but because of stakeholder capitalism, Viacom can say, well, yes, our viewership is down 70%. But our values and our commitment to the LGBTQ plus community is very firm. So we are not only about the money. We are also about what? About the corruption of children, the corruption and eventual destruction of human beings, physically and spiritually. So stakeholder capitalism, again, is an excuse to destroy human souls. That's what it really is. And it's led by that Dr. Evil Parody, Klaus Schwab, who is really a front man for the groups that really run this entire show. One of my better articles that I get pretty good feedback on, when people say, well, they're doing it for the money. No, you can't. There's no evidence. I asked someone, I was at my dad's house and the TV was on because my dad is a boomer who I love. And I didn't want to watch TV, but, some boomers get into the habit of something and you have to do it. So we were watching the Paramount channel. I forgot which it was. Maybe was it a cooking show? Something. I don't know what it was. Anyway. And in the corner, the Paramount logo was in the rainbow. Now, I love the rainbow. The rainbow was a symbol given to Noah as a covenant from God that he would not flood us again. He would not wipe out the human race in anger again. I like that. I like the promises of God. When I see a rainbow in general, I pause and look at the beauty of it because it's something God gave us. It's a promise that he made for us. But when you see it as part of Gay Pride Month, what you are really seeing is an inversion, is Satan trying to harness God's symbol into the most degenerate and harmful of sins. So when I saw that logo, the Gay Pride logo, I asked one of my brothers as a rhetorical question, why do they do that? Why are they shoving this down my throat? And then my brother, who is not as well versed onto the regime's control grid system as I am, said, they're doing it for the money. I said, explain it to me. Explain how they make more money by putting this. And he couldn't explain it. And that's not to fault him. He just doesn't read this type of content that explains why. But the reason is not for the money. They're not making money doing this. They're losing a lot. They're losing 70% of the viewership. They're doing it to corrupt people. And here in an article you can find on my blog that I wrote a couple of years ago, I said the goal of corporations is not to make money. The goal is to dominate you, to have complete, utter power over you, to enslave you while condemning your soul to hell for eternity. Yeah. Satan is the number one institution. Corporations are the number one institution used by Satan, the number one tool, vehicle to condemn the world. And this is why, come every June, almost every single corporation, all Fortune 500, 1000, they start shoving the gay flag down your throat. This is why. Once you understand that, everything makes sense. They only make enough money until where the money is not a factor anymore, and then they can push what they really want to push. Now with the Fed printing money at an insane pace, giving money for free to those who are connected, they really don't need your money as much as you think. Boycotts are not going to work. We are in a post-boycott age where it doesn't matter. They don't really care anymore. They have enough power where they can not only survive your boycott, while still achieving the goal that they want, which is, again, to corrupt us, to enslave us. It's a really simple idea, but in execution is very complex. This was decades, if not hundreds of the years in the making to arrive at this point where everywhere you turn your head in June, you see a symbol that used to be of God that is now representing putting the pee-pee in the poo-poo. What a feat that Satan has achieved. And this happens not only in North America, but in many parts in Europe too. What a feat. But wait, there's more. What are they trying? See, I mean, it's so clear to me that children are involved in Satan's plan. Why? Because the earlier you can get someone to commit a heinous sin, the harder it is for that person to turn back, the harder it is. You know, I was committing the sin of fornication. So me with women, I was trying to be some Don Juan, right? But the underlying fact of my behavior was that it was a natural behavior in the objective sense, a man with a woman. I just distorted and twisted it into a way that served Satan by not participating in sex within the context of what God asked us to do or told us. But sodomy is something else. Sodomy is an unnatural act. There is no natural feature of it. So you are already, not only are you spiting God and serving Satan, but you're corrupting yourself to such a point, darkening your soul to such a point that it's really hard to come back. And my last stream, Roosh Hour 65, was with an interview with Milo, and God bless him for trying. He's trying really hard. He has repented of his sodomy, and he is trying hard. And we had a long and difficult talk about what that entails. But so I think if Satan can get you to commit an act of sodomy, just one act, your statistical chance, now with God anything is possible, but in just an average sense, your chance of repenting is lower than if you committed a heterosexual sin. And what happens if you chop off your pee-pee now because you think you're a woman? Well, is that going to make repentance harder? Yes, and that increases the chance of suicide. Suicide, the only sin you cannot repent of. So what you're seeing is Satan is making it, what he's trying to do, he hates repentance because that undoes his decades of work on a person. Look at me. I was serving his will. I repented. I flushed all that trash I wrote down the toilet bowl. And now, how do you think Satan feels? He's pretty upset, no? What a waste. Well, what do I have to do, he is thinking, where I can remove this option? And this is where, a theory of mine is that where these mRNA vaccines are going is to biologically alter you to the point where repentance becomes harder too. So, since it's obvious that children are involved, the Washington Post, owned by premier oligarch member Jeff Bezos, makes it clear. And let's take a look at this. Okay, should I open this link? All right, here's the headline in the Washington Post in the perspective section. I guess this is maybe it used to be called style. It says, yes, kink belongs at Pride, and I want my kids to see it. Children need to know that they can make their own ways in the world. And there's a photo with, I don't even know what flag this is now. It's like pink, violet, and purple. And there's a big sign saying queer love. So a kink is really a nice way, not even a nice way. I mean, I think I wouldn't use it in a flattering sense, but a kink is a synonym for perversion. Unnatural perversion. So this mother wants her children to be exposed to sexual perverts performing perversions. Now we have to be careful when I share content like this, not to judge in the sense of, look at how she sins, I don't sin in that way. Okay, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't expose kids to this kind of filth. But still, we have to be a little bit careful not to feel that we are better just because we don't sin in this way. If we recall our most recent sins, that should bring us down to earth. But okay, let's see what she says. So this may increase the anger I experience, the sin of anger. Maybe it's a righteous anger, and we'll talk about that after. Okay, so this, let me read what this mother says. Quote, when our children grew tired of marching, we plopped onto a nearby curb. Just as we got settled, our elementary schooler, which means younger than 10, our elementary schooler pointed in the direction of oncoming floats, raising an eyebrow at a bare-chested man in dark sunglasses wearing black suspenders clipped into a leather thong. The man paused to be spanked playfully by a partner with a flog. What are they doing? My curious kid asked as our toddler cheered them on. The pair was the first of a few dozen kinksters, I think a better word would be perverts, who danced down the street, laughing together as they twirled their whips and batons, some leading companions by leashes. At the time, my children were too young to understand the nuance of the situation. But I told them the truth, that these folks were members of our community celebrating who they are and what they like to do. End quote. I was at the New York Pride Parade in 2019, and you see that. You see people decked out in bondage gear, leashes. Thankfully, I didn't see spanking, but So you have a mother who deliberately shows her toddler and elementary school child, gay man, spanking each other in bondage gear. And the thing we have to understand is that women like her have now a sickness in their mind where they believe that is normal. So how did we get here? And it wasn't overnight. It wasn't overnight. This is a process, a step-by-step process. So now I don't know how far you want to go back, but let's go to recent times. When you normalize free sex among heterosexuals, those who grew up in that time will then give forth to homosexuality. Now, if you grow up during a time where homosexuality is normalized, like the millennial author here, then you grow up to begin to accept transgenderism. So now we're having young kids, like the kids she's taking to see queer love signs and so on. They're growing up in a time where transgenderism is normalized. So what's going to come next? You don't want to know. You may not even want to be alive to know. That's how bad it's going to be. That's how bad it's going to be. So we are one generation away from some serious darkness. It's already bad now. It's already bad. I seeing what mothers like this are doing to their kids, to give her the benefit of the doubt, in total ignorance and delusion, is sad. It's sad because, those kids now exposed to these ideas as normal are going to have a hard time. They're going to have a hard time. Look, it was hard enough for me as an adult man who wasn't sexually active until he was 21 or so to come back from just natural sex. That's hard enough. But to get started at a young age where homosexuality and perversions are normalized in your mind, that's going to be tough too. So I don't know how God is going to deal with that, or how he's going to bring children like these who are abused. In a just era, this mother would be locked up immediately. Her kids would be taken from her immediately and given to a Christian family. I don't know how God is going to reach these people's hearts, but we have faith in him that he does desire everyone to be saved. And I'm sure we will see how people, when they choose to turn away from evils, that how they are going to do it, how God is going to do it. How is our favorite group of victims doing? The Jews. How are our Jewish friends doing? Shalom. Here's a headline in the Times of Israel, and the headline is: Hungarian Jews protest law against sharing content on homosexuality with minors. Largest federation of Jewish communities in country criticizes gay propaganda law, saying no one should be discriminated against or outlawed because of their identity. So Hungarian Jews don't like a law that blocks homosexual content to children. Are we surprised? Are we surprised? I am not. I've been talking about this for a long time. I've been sharing my tractor memes for, seems like ages of ages. So here you have a very Jewish-looking man protesting. How dare you forbid homosexual content to little kids? We want these kids to see the kinks of the queers every June. I don't know what they don't have to hide it now. They can, on the surface, say, yeah, we want to corrupt children. The Jews want to corrupt children. It's right here. I'm not making it up. I'm not an anti-Semite. They have stated it. They have stated it. They have come out to declare they want to corrupt children with homosexual propaganda. I'm just stating what they state, but I'm the anti-Semite, right? God help the Jews if they ever lose their grip on world power. God help them, because people know what they're doing. And it's only because the people who hate them, due to their behavior that don't have power, that they can still sit in their comfortable $1 million home saying, we want to show homosexual propaganda to little kids. And one day, for no reason at all, Hitler was voted into office. Anyway. So now you're thinking, well, June is over. Thank goodness. It's now July 3rd. No more Gay Pride Month. We can go back to normal. We can enjoy our summer without being bombarded. I can't wait. Wait, what is this? Now in the government of Canada says they're extending Gay Pride Month to Gay Pride season. It says here, in Canada, local pride events span over the course of several months. Pride season is a unifying term that refers to the period between June and September. So Canada, it's been extended. Sorry, Canadians. I think this is a time to leave your crappy country, but don't come to the United States. We're not that much better. And I like how now there are so many identity groups that they're changing their gay pride flag to look something like, I don't know what this is. Now it has pink in it and white and doo-doo brown. So if they just keep going, we can take the rainbow back, because they have to add new, I don't know, groups that they have now, but they keep changing it. So what's especially bad is that because the climate is colder in Canada, it's really all they have left in Canada to prevent committing mass suicide is the summer. That's all that they have there. They don't have anything else. It's so bad that in Montreal that they have an underground network of shopping malls because the weather is so inhospitable to human life. So now you're taking the summer away from straight Canadians to bombard for 3 months. Is that 3 or 4 months? Let me see. June, July, August, September. 4 months. 4 months. Why don't we just extend it to year round? You might as well. In Canada, doing gay pride season is the effect of making it all year long due to their horrible climate. And if you're thinking this is going to stay in Canada, you're wrong. I'm sure it's going to spread elsewhere. I can't wait to get into arguments with the clerks at the supermarket for months on end. Just wait. Just wait till it's a hate crime to not have homosexual sex. Just wait. You turn down a gay man who hit on you on Tinder, you're going to jail. And I'm not joking. Now, I think it helps to put a spiritual perspective on things. What is this gayness? What is this gay identity? Came across an article from Rocor's Metropolitan Jonah, and he used to be a bishop in OCA before he moved. He put out a paper called "Do Not Resent, Do Not React, Keep Inner Stillness." Something that I need to work on. And let me read a quote from this. He says, "We need to confess the things that we are the most ashamed of, the secret sins which we know are betrayals of our true self. If we don't confess them, they fester and generate all sorts of despondency, depression, and guilt, shame, and despair. The result of that is that we identify ourselves with our sins. For example, same-sex attraction becomes gay identity. Failure in some area becomes a general self-identification with being a failure." End quote. So what Metropolitan Jonah is saying is that when you have failed in controlling your passions, in avoiding sin, you create an identity of your failure. So that's what being a homosexual, gay is. Gay is, I have failed. I have failed to counteract satanic urgings and thoughts to be attracted to the same sex. I gave in. I gave in to the same sex attraction thoughts that were put into my mind by Satan, and I'm gay now. And I'm going to go dance in the streets in front of little kids and spank men while wearing thong dildos or whatever they are doing. I did the same thing. I couldn't control my lust to women, so I became what? A PUA, a player. I'm a player, y'all, because I have no control over my passions. No, it was the opposite. So because I failed, I came to see the failure as an identity that reflected some worldly virtue. Being a fornicator, I'm accomplished. Look at me fornicating. Don't make an identity out of your sins. If you are committing sins, struggle through them, confess them. But when you see people making an identity of their sins, they have given up. They are now a champion of sin. So yes, we need to be reminded that you have failed to control your passions all summer long. Thanks, gays. I have a quote for you from Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who wrote The Gulag Archipelago, among other books. And he says, "Today's world has reached a stage that, if it had been described to preceding centuries, would have called forth the cry, 'This is the apocalypse.'" So if you just give a day in the life of a heterosexual man living in San Francisco in 2021, give that article to someone living 100 years ago, they will say, "This is the end. This man has reached the end. Christ is coming." Now, all this stuff is not just an inconvenience at the supermarket like I have to face. I mean, I removed myself from society to such an extent that the only place I interface with secular human beings is at the supermarket, probably. And maybe even, I mean, I get gas and food. That's it. I don't mix. No, I don't. Even my beloved coffee shop habit in Europe, which I perfected, going to the cafe with my laptop and pretending I'm some kind of artist, even that is done. I don't go out anymore. But it's not just about gay flags having to see them. It's about the normalization of homosexual teachings in every institution. And here is a video of a teacher, someone who teaches your kids. I mean, the still frame that we are looking at really describes everything. I mean, you don't even have to watch the video to know what is going on. So you have an image of a woman behind her is, I think, 4 different kinds of gay flags now, including the tranny flag. Her image, she has red hair, unnatural, like a pinkish red hair, very problematic glasses that are huge. I mean, it looks like something a clown would wear at the circus to get the attention of little kids. And so let's see what this teacher has to say about how important being gay is.
Hey Teacher TikTok, I wanted to share a cute story that happened today. So like a lot of teachers, I have these little pride flags from Target, and
I can admit that Target is a problem in this equation. They push gay stuff a lot.
I'm kind of rearranging my room right now, so I was thinking of a different place to put these, and I tried hanging them up outside my door. And while I was out there, the 6th graders were
and why is she talking like that? Have you noticed that that's very common? The way that women talk now is this weird uptalk and
having a tour of the school. And I hear one of the 6th graders go, "Oh, look, she has those LGBTQ flags. That's so cool." And it really touched my heart, 1, because middle schoolers are just so honest all the time, and I love that about them. And 2, when I bought them, I felt sort of nervous because...
You should. Oh, that's called your conscience. Yes, your conscience was speaking to you. That's where the nervousness was. Good for you. Your consciousness is not dead yet. So your conscience was telling you, don't buy these. It's not appropriate.
Not because I think there's anything wrong with being gay, because I don't, but...
Yes, you do. See how she had to express that. I don't think there's anything wrong. Yes, you know it's wrong. Your conscience is telling you it's wrong.
Just that it felt sort of performative because I'm a cishet lady. So anyway, it was
cishet lady? What does that
just
mean?
a really obvious moment of like representation matters, and I wanted to share that with you. Hey teacher.
That's gay. Can you do me a favor? If you have a kid in public school where there's a single gay pride flag that's being allowed to be displayed anywhere without being burned down, can you take them out, please? Just take them out. I will homeschool them. I'm going to volunteer to homeschool any parent that needs to take their kid out of a gay public school, because they're going to get your kids. Satan is using schools to turn kids gay. Yes. I will homeschool. Mr. V will teach your kids. We'll start with God. God is first. And we'll do other topics like bird watching and hiking and baking bread. All the important things. Okay, here's another. I think this is a video. Now, this is sad. This is really sad. So here is a video of a young girl, probably in high school, coming out as a boy.
This is kind of scary because I only realized this a couple of days ago, and I've only come out to a few people. I'm a guy.
No, you're not. So you see how this is right now. This is the most attention she has ever gotten. Her as a female stating, "I'm a guy," and people are cheering. And there's an adult standing next to her. Maybe that's a teacher. So she's being validated right now for being mentally ill, because that's what it is. Not to insult her, but if you're a woman, unless you're a 0.01% of the case, say hermaphrodite, you're a girl. So she's saying, "I'm a boy," and there's cheering and clapping. So of course she's like, yeah, this feels good. It feels good when people approve of you. And the reason they're cheering and clapping is because the institutions in this country are cheering and clapping at the same time. I mean, I'm pretty convinced that you can become a transgender right now And if you have a little bit of charm, you will get your own TV show. You will get a TV show on Netflix, or the YouTube CEO, Susan Wojcicki, will come to you and do a meeting with you. I mean, they're so in need of transgender stars that maybe I'll just chop off my beard and my pee-pee, and then I'll be a star too. I'll say I'm not Roosh V anymore. I'm Diamond. Okay, let's watch the rest of this.
I use he, they pronouns, and I'm gonna go by Theo.
Theo.
I told my mom today, and I have to go home every day and be called my dead name and have she, her pronouns used every time I go home. And no one realizes how hurtful it is. It's like a slap in the face. And I dyed my hair last night so I could feel more masculine, and I was afraid I was going to get thrown out of the house. We love you, Theo. We love you.
Lord have mercy. I mean, I'm laughing on the outside, but on the inside, I'm crying, because now the chance for her to commit suicide in the next 5 years is very high. This is so dumb. I mean, this is like I feel like I'm living a nightmare. I'm a little bit detached to it because I see it on the internet, and I'm not swarmed with the trainee army yet, so I can laugh, but I'm not laughing because I'm happy that this is happening to her. But it's just so absurd. It's so absurd that you have a girl saying, I'm so angry that my parents are going to call me a girl. And then other trainees are like, we love you, Theo. This is a bad movie, y'all. It's a bad movie. It's just a little bit funny. Man, what would you do if you have you don't go overnight from being a girl to saying I'm a boy. You know, there were the warning signs. Warning sign number 1, your kid is in public school. Again, I'll teach him how to bake. Teach him how to read the Bible after I learn how to read it. Oh, this blows. But there is hope. There is hope. There is a subset of creatures on this earth that doesn't kowtow to the agenda, that doesn't bend the knee. And one of those are horses. Horses will not become gay. And here's a video of 2 horses in the UK that refuse to walk over those gay pride crosswalks that I'm sure your gay city has. Let's watch this. The horses, 2 of them, approach the gay pride crosswalk, and they're like, nope, we will not validate this. We will not validate this homosexuality. The horses refuse to validate it. This is AIDS. We don't want our hooves to get AIDS. So they are very distressed, as I am. Good for them. At least we can count on the animals to say no. Sadly, I had a young man when we were talking about homosexuality. He defended it and said it is very common to see homosexual animals in the wild. I know he learned that from his science classes. Science, right? No, there are, if a animal in the wild is gay, it probably was infected with a parasite. Toxoplasmosis, it's called. That's gay. Okay, I want to show you an article, but site is down or what? No. Why? I'm gonna figure it out. Hold on. Archive.org. There's an article I read called Holy Zeal, which kind of helps to share what can we do when it comes time to fighting back, or if we should. And the article itself is gone. So, but thankfully I saved the quote I want to read, but kind of upset that can't show you the front of that, but try one more. It's really gone. Is my internet down? No, people are still here. Okay, so anyway. So this was an article written by Archbishop Averki at Jordanville Monastery in, I think, the 70s. The same monastery that I was baptized in. So should we fight back against this obvious evil that is enveloping our countries, poor Canadians who have to go through this for several more months? So Archbishop Averki says the following: meekness and humility do not mean spinelessness and should not yield before manifest evil, and that a true Christian should be far from sugar-sweet sentimentality and should not step away in the face of evil which presumptuously raises its head, but should always be uncompromising towards evil, fighting with it by all measures and means available to him, in order decisively to cut off the spread and the strengthening of evil among men. He also says, we do not dare to remain indifferent or be unconcerned about the manifestations of evil in the world, especially when the matter is one of God's glory, of our holy faith and church. Here we must show ourselves to be completely uncompromising, and we do not dare enter into any sort of cunning compromises or any reconciliation, even purely outward, or into any kind whatever of agreement with evil. To our personal enemies, according to Christ's commandment, we must forgive everything, but with the enemies of God, we cannot have peace. Friendship with the enemies of God makes us ourselves the enemies of God. This is a betrayal and treason towards God, under whatever well-seeming pretext it might be done. And here no kind of cunning or skillful self-justification can help us. End quote. So when Christ tells us to turn the other cheek, the church interpretation is in personal relationships. People that you know, people that you have dealings with. But as Archbishop Averki clarifies, with enemies of God, people who are actively spiting God, actively promoting evil and sin, we state the truth. We can resist them. My question is how? You basically have a sodomite world system in place. So, okay, I don't go to supermarket A that has the gay flag, but all the other ones have it. So what do? Do I yell and scream in the store, says it's wrong? Do I vandalize the stores by putting bumper stickers all over that says we support the corruption of children? I don't know. Are we supporting sodomy when we shop at these stores that have the gay flag, the clothing stores, Walmart, Amazon, Target, all those stores support it either directly or indirectly, whether they show the gay pride flag or not. So what do we do? This is the question of our times. And what I have done is write a letter, an impotent letter that achieved nothing. But still, I fear that I am pretty close to snapping in public with a righteous anger that demands gay flags to be pulled down or else. Or maybe I'm just trying to LARP as a tough guy. I guess we'll find out soon. You know that the lockdowns, what they've been doing, and I'm going to get to some coronavirus news, that was wrong. That's just a power grab. Something about pushing homosexuality that really bothers me. Is it because homosexuality, that sin is so grave, but I don't know how much more I can take. So I'll survive this June, and I did. I made it through July 3rd without having a public freak out. But next June, they're going to advance, right? Every June, they seem to be advancing more and more. The point where I'm going to feel like I'm trapped, like I can't breathe, that they're trying to wrap these flags around my face. And I pray that I do react in a way that is fitting to God, that I don't commit the sin. But as Archbishop Averki says, I feel like I have the permission to not go along with evil as it becomes more forceful. And supporting these evil companies, it sucks, but it's almost impossible not to. This isn't just a matter of, I subscribe to Netflix and now I'm not going to subscribe to it because they put a gay propaganda film. These are things that you need to live, especially food, clothing. I bought a bookshelf at IKEA, and until I get in my own place where I can buy my own wood and make it, IKEA is pretty gay. And the only thing that made me actually a little bit happy is that their bin of gay pride tote bags were completely full. Like no one was buying that gay stuff. I actually made a comment about that to the clerk where I gleefully stated how your gay pride flags are not selling so well. So I'm starting to fight back in a very minor, small way, but I know myself, and I know if something really bothers me, I have to share my thoughts. So may all of us know the best way to deal with this as they become more aggressive in forcing homosexuality upon ourselves, our family, and our friends. Okay. Now I want to talk about coronavirus. No, I want to talk about some cultural news. So if you're just joining, you can leave a super chat on the link below and I'll get to it at the end. Let's see if I got any super chats. I got a few so far. That's nice. How's the chat doing? Chat's doing. See, I'm being overly criticized for going to IKEA. Well, I'm just another consumer slave, so I apologize. All right, cultural news. Does it get any better? Let's see. Let's go to Men's Health. And their story is British Army soldiers told to stop using words like gents, men, and lads. So, men in the British military can no longer use the word men. And here's a photo of a really tough girl. Man, she's so tough. She's a killer. In a set of orders detailing what is expected of soldiers in online meetings, the regiment's sergeant major said that the terms men, gents, and lads are incompatible with the British military's diversity and inclusion protocols and reminded troops of the values and standards they are expected to uphold. The Daily Mail also claims words such as mankind and sportsmanship have been banned as the armed forces attempts to remodel itself as a gender-neutral organization. Maybe also England can change its flag to just white. Just give up, because that's what they are doing right now. Man, how would you feel? You join the military and then they tell you can't use the word men anymore. I would pass on that. What was very upsetting to me is who Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post went after. They went after the birds. They said that birds are carrying a racist legacy because of their names. So the bird like the Jameson's firefinch is racist because the man who the bird was named after, Jameson something, may have or may not have owned slaves. So it turns out that some bird watchers are in the, I'm guessing they're of, a certain background, which we know. They're like, oh, these bird names, we have to change it. So they're starting to construct a list of names to change the names of the birds, the poor, poor birds. Here we have the Audubon's warbler, a little bird with a yellow throat and some wings. He is named for John James Audubon, an enslaver. Oh my goodness. Named after, soon, okay, what they're going to do is this. They're going to change the names. And then in 5 years, it's going to be like, you know what? Any bird named by a white man has to be changed. So all bird names have to be changed. This is how the revolutionary mindset goes. They just have to destroy and destroy and destroy. Soon all birds' names are going to be named after hip hop songs. So we're going to have like a bird that's called Twerking Chirp and a bird that's like Purple Haze. Anyway. And I looked at the person who wrote this Washington Post article, Daryl Fears, and I just put him into the image search. And you couldn't find a more gay looking black man. I don't know if he is gay, but he looks really gay. So Washington Post probably is infested with gay writers. And here is the writer of the article holding a snake. It is an actual snake. And he has a smirk on his face, which I think we know what that joke is, but I don't want to go further than that. So they go after the birds. They go after me. I will hunt down, and no, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm not going to hunt anyone down. Roosh, don't state publicly what you planning on doing, dummy. I mean, what? Am I still live? Ooh, I better edit that out afterwards. I don't want to get banned from YouTube. Oh, wait, I already got banned. No, I'm non-violent. But since I'm not in the military, at least I can use the word men. Ooh, today I'm very thirsty. So what are the women doing? How are the women advancing this progressive culture? Here the NPR says, women now drink as much as men. Not so much for pleasure, but to cope. So women, instead of becoming mothers and homemakers, have now become addicted to alcohol. And the reason they drink that much alcohol is to deal with a soulless, meaningless, pointless office job that fulfills perhaps their materialistic needs, but not their emotional or spiritual. And in the article, they use, I guess, a 30-something woman with multiple tattoos. Oh, well. Yeah, well, you want to become like men. Guess what? You also get the vices that us men have too. And so basically, all women now are becoming like a Russian man in some ways. So, what new trick are the Jews? I mean, are the oligarchs putting onto women? What is the new trick to get them to work harder, to spend their money, and to further corrupt themselves? It's called pelvic cutouts. And you're wondering, what is that? Well, that's the new style now. The new trick is to get women to show more of their skin. And don't want to entice you, but I have to show what this means. So you have a dress, and basically where the pelvic bone is, there's no fabric. So you can see, here's another example. So it's basically finding a new way to remove more clothing. And so it's a big scam. Let me tell you how this works. The fashion industry, which is just a couple companies that own all of them, they come up with the idea, okay, we need something new. And they all agree, we're going to do pelvic cutouts. All right, great. Then you design the clothing in Vietnam or China for cheap fabrics, right? And then you pay Kim Kardashian and models like Bella Hadid to wear them. And you pay the paparazzi to take photos of them when they're getting out of their car or going to Starbucks, which is totally staged. These stars know in advance when the paparazzi are coming, so they know what outfit that they've been paid to wear, that when they can wear it. And then so now the paparazzi photos go into the gossip websites and the magazines who are paid to. And then conveniently, like on this article, at the end of it are links to buy the things that the stars have. So here, you can buy it. If you're a certain size, okay, yeah, you can buy the navy pinstripe for $195. You can buy this girl's Beret London. So it's a scam. I mean, how do women not see this? And the reason they have to change the style is because usually, if you're like me, you buy a shirt that works, you can keep wearing it until it turns into rags. You don't need to keep changing it. The shirt still fits. I'm not fat yet, so I can wear it. But oh, this is a new style, girl. If you'll be cool, you'll get more attention, you'll be in, you'll be with it. So you have to spend thousands of dollars now to be up to date. It's basically getting women to spend money when they don't need to. So they invent something stupid like pelvic cutout. And if you don't have a pelvic cutout in your dress, then you're not cool. You're out of style. You're dated. So don't be surprised if in the next month or so you start to notice women showing more skin. And it's because it is a big Jewish trick. Don't fall for it, ladies. Say no to Jewish fashion. Okay, what else? So we have something strange that I found. There's a YouTube channel called Hi Ho Kids. It's a kids channel. It's a little weird. One of their videos, so their idea or concept is to share interviews with adults and children, and the adults have some kind of job or did some kind of activity, and they're talking to the kids about it. Well, one of the videos was kids talk to a woman who had an abortion. And if it wasn't creepy enough, the woman in question was, I guess, the leader of a nonprofit called Shout Your Abortion, which is meant to reduce the stigma of getting an abortion by telling everyone that you got one. So let's see how creepy this is. So now she's talking to 12-year-old girls, describing how it was like to get an abortion, of course, she has to do it in a way that doesn't scare them and that grooms them for doing it when they get older.
Suck the pregnancy out. And it was like a crappy dentist appointment or something. It was just like, this is like a body thing that's kind of uncomfortable. But then it was over, and I felt really just grateful that I wasn't pregnant anymore.
That's sad. And so they actually, because they got so much outrage over that video, they took it down. But if you go on their channel now, which has over 4 million subscribers, they have videos of interview with a transgender soldier, a non-conforming person, kids meet another non-conforming person, meet a drag queen, meet a gay conversion therapy survivor. What the heck is that? So this to me seems really bad. Now, I looked into this company, and they go by the website cut.com, and they have a couple of channels, but you can't find out where their office is. You can't find anything. You can't find anything about them, the names of their officers, but they really want to audition kids. I have a bad feeling about this. I have a very bad feeling that a kids channel that intends to tell kids how it's okay to get an abortion, be a drag queen, be non-binary. I have a feeling that this could, I don't have any evidence, but this could be a front for doing bad things. Just think, who do you have to be to open an entertainment channel for kids with the intention of exposing them to the depths of degeneracy? I wonder, who do you have to be? I don't know. Well, you have to be working with Satan, but who is the human front? That's kind of sad, actually. And speaking of abortion, I have some good news. I have some very good news. And the good news is that Germany banned abortion for chicken embryos. Germany bans killing chick embryos because it turns out those chick embryos feel pain. But the ability to get an abortion for humans still stands. Well, at least they care about the baby chickens. Now, if they can just care about the baby humans, we could make some progress. What's weird to me is that I've never met a woman who didn't think abusing animals was fine. So if in front of a woman I kick a dog, and I don't kill the dog, but I just kick it and the dog flies in the air and is yelping. If I do that, the woman is going to call me a monster, an animal abuser that should be locked up into jail because I hurt this defenseless creature. But yet, at the same time, if she lives in the city and I say, do you support abortion? She'll say, I'm pro-choice. Yes, it's my body. And I'm like, how do you reconcile that? If I get an egg with a baby chicken inside, and I take the egg and smash it on the concrete, and the poor baby's guts is all over the place. And if these liberal women see that, they'll genuinely start crying. They would genuinely, I mean, even them. They will start crying. They'll call the police on me. I'm sure they would. But yet, when it comes to human, quote unquote, egg inside them, they have no problem with it. How can you come to comprehend this contradiction? And the only way is to understand that these women are in delusion, to care so much about a baby puppy or a baby bird, but then kill their own kind, their own child. This is delusion. So this is why we have to pray for these people. They just don't understand what they're doing. Now, maybe some do, but most, as long as they would have an emotional, appropriate reaction to a bird being killed, a dog being hurt, why don't they have that to their own kids? Because they have been taught bad ideas, hammered by demonic thoughts, and they're in a state of immense delusion. So it is sad. And now things are getting so bad in the United States that a woman who defected North Korea is basically like, take me back, who defected North Korea to come and learn in the United States, in the universities here, is basically like, take me back there. The United States is too crazy. Here, the headline is, North Korean defector slams woke U.S. schools. And let me read. Yeonmi Park attended Columbia University and was immediately struck by what she viewed as anti-Western sentiment in the classroom and a focus on political correctness that had her thinking, even North Korea isn't this nuts. I expected that I was paying this fortune, all this time and energy to learn how to think, but they are forcing you to think the way they want you to think, Park told Fox News. I realized, wow, this is insane. I thought America was different, but I saw so many similarities to what I saw in North Korea that I started worrying. A 27-year-old told the Post that she couldn't believe she would be asked to do this much censoring of myself at a university in the United States. I literally crossed the Gobi Desert to be free, and I realized I'm not free. America's not free, she said. So she fled North Korea at 13 for the United States. And then after time in the United States, she came to realize that the United States is not as free as she thought, as the Hollywood movies portrayed it as. She's not an unattractive Asian girl. So if any of you Orthodox Christian men want to flirt to convert her to the Orthodox Church, then you may do so. There is still a strong contingent of men who like the Asian persuasion. Okay, that's all the culture. Is that enough bad news? I think I'm done with bad cultural news. I think that's enough gay. But then again, this stream so far has been very fitting for being number 66. Someone in the chat says, Roosh, I think you found your wife. I am not interested in Asian females. I'm sorry. My boy will have a beard as luxurious as his father. Have you ever seen an Asian man with a beard? DB Vision 3258 user 9? No. My son will exceed me in facial hair or in body hair in general. See, I need to find a woman who is swarthy. A super swarthy girl to have the most masculine men, God-fearing men who will fight for God. I'm only joking. All right, let's talk a little bit about coronavirus, because this stupid PSYOP is still with us. It's not going anywhere, even though their narrative is getting a little bit shaky as too much truth comes out, and they're having to play defense a little bit. So we have a doctor here, Dr. Tom Frieden, who is Jewish. And he puts on the fear-mongering to the max. He wants to scare you, because if you're scared, you'll commit to the behavior that his employers, those who are unseen, want you to do. And Dr. Tom says, as Delta spreads rapidly, it's acting like a heat-seeking missile targeting those who haven't yet been vaccinated. He actually compares a virus to a heat-seeking missile that's targeting for you to kill you. But only if you're not vaccinated. I mean, how do these people sleep at night? I know how they sleep at night. On a bed full of money, sex slaves, probably. I'm not saying he does that, but I know you don't get to become Dr. Tom Frieden, retweeted by thousands. I think he worked at the CDC. Didn't he have, I think there was one former CDC guy that had some problems. Hold on. Huh. You won't believe it, but I wasn't far. Turns out that this guy pled guilty in a sex abuse case. But of course, since he's part of the club, he gets no jail time. Former director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Tom Frieden, avoided jail time on Tuesday after pleading guilty to groping a longtime family friend in New York. I highly recommend we search his house, under the house, behind the house, all if there's like a dungeon there. Because this is something that he got caught with. Imagine how many things he didn't get caught for. So a man who is totally lost to his passions is now advising me on matters of health. Get out of here. Get out of here. But because he's Jewish, he gets off. Give me a break. How is this man a sex abuser who's, I would guess that this isn't the only thing. I don't know if there is more, but I would, if you're groping family friends in public, what are you doing in private? I would ask that. I would definitely, if I was the attorney general, I would investigate, but he doesn't get that. It seems like they just charged him because they kind of had to. This was like the one thing that they couldn't sweep under the rug because he did something outside of their private parties. That's what I would guess. Okay, so far we're being told by this sex pervert, by a convicted sex abuser, that the virus is going to attack me like a homing device because I didn't get the vaccine. Okay. And then we have Wajahat Ali, who is let's see. Sounds like a Muslim name. He says this. I feel America has forgotten we're still in the middle of a pandemic that has killed more than 600,000 people. No, it hasn't. And there's a deadly Delta Plus strain, and our kids are not vaccinated. Sigh. I see packed restaurants and people inside stores and malls, and their kids aren't wearing masks. I feel like I'm in a horror movie. So because people are trying to get back to normal, and I see that traffic in the DC area is basically back. It's just to go anywhere, it takes about half an hour. To go a mile down the street takes about 20 minutes. Because people want to go back to normal, Wajahat Ali feels like we're living in a horror film because of the Delta variant. The Delta variant, it's like a homing device. How stupid do they think we are? Don't answer that, because a lot of us, unfortunately, aren't. Well, a lot of them don't like to do the research on their own. So the Delta variant, what is the Delta variant about? And we have a member on my forum, rooshavforum.com, who goes by the username Enoch. He says, the Delta variant and future variants are cover for the long-term adverse vaccine effects. Also, the unvaccinated will be scapegoated for the spread of the variants. At this point, it is not possible to wake someone up who has taken the vaccine. That was the final sacrament for initiation into the medical tyranny cult, as there is no taking the vaccine out of your body. I agree with that. I think they need a really deadly variant to, again, cover for a lot of the side effects that this really dangerous coronavirus shot has. So already, because of the Delta variant, and I don't think this variant is something different. I think it's just, I don't even know anymore. I don't have the scientific laboratory to confirm all the assumptions and the claims that the establishment, that the oligarchs are making. But because I don't trust them, because they lie constantly, I'm not going to believe them. Maybe there is a variant, but I don't care. I still have an immune system. I still have it. I'm going to put my trust in that instead of Dr. Pervert, instead of Anthony Fauci, who, if you do the research, was cruising gay bathhouses to quote unquote research the AIDS epidemic. That was partially fake. At least it was overblown in them trying to claim that heterosexuals would get that HIV as much as gays. It's purely a gay thing. I forgot my train of thought. I was going somewhere with that. Yeah, so I'm just going to count on my immune system. But that doesn't mean that they're going to not try to lock us down again. And unfortunately, in Los Angeles, which is one of the bigger metropolitan areas in the United States, they started to demand people to wear face masks again. The quote, just in, LA Public Health Department reinstates indoor mask mandate regardless of vaccination status due to Delta variant. CDC officials are rethinking prevention measures, even for the vaccinated. Oh, Lord. So they are thinking of locking everything down one more time because of more bogus fakery. I don't care about Delta. Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to see your gay flags. I don't want people to yell at me at the store. Sir, your mask. No, just leave me alone, man. I'm getting angry. Anger is rising. And they don't want, for them, Corona is such a money psyop because they got so much of the population, over 50%, to fall for it. And here our headline is, former FDA commissioner explains why U.S. will always have new COVID-19 cases from now on. So always. This is going to, God, his face. His face looks a little particular, if you know what I mean. Dr. Gottlieb, eh? Don't tell me he is one of them. Let's do a search. Scott Gottlieb, here he is in the Wikipedia. I'm going to early life, straight down. Early life. He is Jewish. No! They're all Jews, it seems. All of them are Jews or the lovers of Jews, the lovers of the Jew money, lovers of the fame and the power that the Jew gives. My goodness. Like, how many Jews are there? Could it be that every Jew alive has some position of power in the worldwide globalist regime? Every possible Jew is involved? What a conspiracy that would be. Now, we have to be a little bit careful here. We have to be careful not to notice too much. Patterns. Don't notice patterns. Let's take a look at one pattern they don't want us to notice. Here is the Guardian. Why most people who now die with COVID in England have had a vaccination. But don't think of this as a bad sign. It's exactly what's expected from an effective but imperfect jab. So here the Guardian is telling you that, yeah, it's true that vaccinated people are dropping dead more than the unvaccinated. But don't let that stop you. Still get the vaccine anyway. So here you have a way to train humans, ignore your own body, ignore your ability to recognize patterns. And if you've ever had an IQ test, that's the bulk, most of the IQ test, it seems, is can you recognize a pattern? Can you see what shape or design fits in? So they're trying to, I guess, lower IQ on purpose. Because the stupider you are, the less threatened they are. So, I mean, I'm just trying to get how dumb have we gotten as humans? How far have we strayed from the ultimate truth as the person, Jesus Christ, that we can read this article and say, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm going to get the vaccine anyway. And I shouldn't even be using that term vaccine because it's not one. They would have to change the definition of vaccine to make it so. So really it's a coronavirus shot, right? Serum genetic therapy. So they admit it. They admit it that people who get the vaccine are dropping dead at a greater rate than the unvaccinated. I'm not going to get one. I don't care how many variants there. You can call the variant skull and bones. I don't care. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it. Because this is what happens if you do get it. Oh, man. Hold on. Let me log into this. Need that image. Okay. Log in. Logging in. Oh, now I need a... Hold on 1 second. There was a soccer player. Okay, got it. Okay, processing. Enter. And get this thing going. And boom. In. Or I was in. Okay, here it is. All right, here we have a picture of Robert Lima, a pro soccer player, and like most soccer players, he has his arms completely covered in tattoos. He became a trainer after his pro soccer career, and he is 48 years old in very good shape. I mean, he's thin. Probably has low body fat. And this is a picture of him showing people of him getting his second coronavirus shot. Can't be more healthy than this guy. I mean, he would be a model for us on how to stay in shape as you get into middle age. And then what's the news after that? He's dead. He died. Uruguayan soccer is mourning the sudden death of Robert Bola Lima on Thursday night. He died of a heart attack while playing a soccer game with friends. May he rest in peace. Wow, what are the odds that one of the most healthy men at 48 dropped dead of a heart attack not long after getting the coronavirus shot? And I think there was another story of a soccer player that had a heart attack or something. I'm not getting it. Bill Gates, are you watching? Anthony Fauci, I'm not getting it. I don't care what you do. You can shut down the world. I'm not getting it. So what are you going to do? You're going to kill me? I don't care. I'm not getting it. I don't care what you take away. I'm not going to get it. So then they're rubbing their hands like, how can we get Roosh to get the vaccine? There has to be some button, has to be some worldly concern, something of the world that he wants and needs. We're going to find it, Roosh. We're going to get you. And maybe they did. Maybe they found a button, because look at this. Look at this. Skipping the COVID-19 vaccine could cost you sex, Bumble's survey warns. Oh, that's not going to get me either, because that's the old man. The old Roosh. Oh, my fornication, my sex partners, I got to keep the sex going because I'm masculine. I'm going to get sex now because with the vaccine. Shut up, old Roosh. Dang fool. No, but the new Roosh is like, try again, Satan. This ain't going to get me. So it turns out, this isn't the first time that they've used this, where they're saying, if you don't get the vaccine, man enslaved to your passions, you'll get less sex. Well, not going to fool me. Yeah, maybe you'll get sex, but you'll shoot blanks now that you're sterile, dummy. And written, I know she wasn't the originator of this idea, but the article is written by Mira Eisenberg. All right. Dating app Bumble surveyed roughly 1,000 Americans in May, and 30% of them said they wouldn't go on a date or have sex with someone who hadn't received the COVID-19 vaccine. So if you've skipped the shot so far, it could cost you a first date. Yeah, but now you're sterile, idiot. We shouldn't be doing this anyway. We shouldn't be having sex before marriage anyway. If you're doing that, please ask God to help you with it. You're in a state of sin, right? I mean, we're all in some kind of state of sin, but the carnal sins are going to separate you from God the most. The act of sin is going to separate you from God more than the thoughts of sex. Now, guess who they're going to blame when the new variant, when the gamma variant comes and it's so deadly, everyone's dying, and all the people dying are actually, they just got the vaccine like a year ago. But guess who they're going to blame? They're going to blame us. They're going to blame us. All the people who didn't get the vaccine are going to be blamed for whatever happens. And that's just the cross that we'll have to bear, and I'm willing to bear that. That's fine. Because I'm going to be yelled at by people like this, Chuck Todd. Let's see how angry he is at you for not getting the shot.
Please get vaccinated. If you know someone who's not vaccinated, find a way to convince them to get vaccinated. Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated.
What? Wait. Did he utter a huge whopper of a lie?
to get vaccinated. Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated.
That's a lie. You lie, Chuck. You uttered falsehood. It is not true that literally the only people dying are the unvaccinated. That's not true. That's a lie. I hate lies. Who inspired you, Chuck, the father of lies?
And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you.
Oh,
shame on you.
Shame on me.
People are needlessly dying because of your misinformation. Think about it. I don't know how some of you sleep at night.
Well, Chuck, I'll tell you, I sleep on a little bed. It's not coated in money or sex slaves. I'm not a tool of the oligarchs like you are. I don't have millions of dollars and live in a palace. I don't get to go to the private parties and the rituals and the meetings and the initiation ceremonies. I'm not in the meetings that plan the propaganda of the day. No, I'm in church, buddy. I'm praying to God to save me from people like you who are misinforming people. You uttered a falsehood. Correct yourself. Turn to God. Repent. This stream is making me thirsty. This is the only food brand that I can display without being ashamed. Goya. Goya's based. Goya for life, or until they get a woke CEO. Oh, that was good juice. Coconut juice empowers me to tell the truth. So, if you're looking for a house to buy, you know that the market is a bit seized up. The inventory is low, prices are high. Partially because the interest rates are really low and partially because of this fake pandemic. Well, why could it be that housing is going up? Here it says that BlackRock, a hedge fund company, is buying every single family house they can find, paying 20 to 50% above asking price and outbidding normal home buyers. Why are corporations, pension funds, and property investments groups buying entire neighborhoods out from under the middle class? Well, if you didn't know, you will own nothing and you will be happy. So it turns out, from one statistic I looked at, private institutional investors like BlackRock own 300,000 homes in the United States. That's not a trivial number. That number is rapidly going up because they're getting free money from the Fed and they're buying. I mean, just imagine how much better families in the United States would be if 300,000 homes were not being bought by these huge firms that just want to rent things out to Section 8 housing, to welfare homeowners, or to recently arrived immigrants that have to be put directly on the welfare rolls themselves. 300,000, that's a lot. How many people can live inside a single family home? Maybe 3 or 4, right? It's like 1 million people are being hit with a more difficult choice to buy a home at a higher price because BlackRock wants to make a profit off of you. Things are broken, people. Things are broken. 300,000 homes, that's going up. That's going to be soon, if they had the option to swoop up and buy the entire inventory of single family homes, they would do it. I believe they are gearing the infrastructure and the operating power to buy a lot of homes because, as part of the great reset that henchman Klaus Schwab openly says you will own nothing. You will not own homes anymore. They will own it. They will own everything. You will rent from them. And if they ever find out that you're a homophobe, that you made a complaint about a flag, that you're a racist, you will not be able to rent anything. So good luck living under the overpass, racist. You can join me. That's where I'll be. And they're already starting the PSYOP. They're starting it. Here we have in Bloomberg. And I'm pretty sure that the owner of BlackRock, or the CEO rather, is a tractor. They're everywhere. I'm telling you, every Jew alive is in charge of something big. I'm only joking, I think. Okay, here in Bloomberg, it's like they're all doing. Okay, anyway, I have to calm down a little bit. America, okay, headline: America should become a nation of renters. The very features that made houses an affordable and stable investment are coming to an end. Yeah, because BlackRock and their friends are buying houses, inflating the price. So it's just like the fashion thing I talked, the pelvic cutouts. Here you have the fashion companies that are making the new design to cause women to wear practically lingerie in public so men can be enticed to lust and so the companies can make a profit. But it's money and corruption at the same time. Make money, corrupt souls. For them, that is win-win. And then you have the fashion magazines pushing that PSYOP onto the women. You have to buy this because Kim Kardashian, she wears it, and what a model of virtue all the models are. So maybe some of them are good, I don't know. So here you have the same thing. BlackRock is buying the houses, and then their affiliates in the media push you don't want to buy. Trust us. You just want to rent. You just want to rent, never own anything. You don't need to rent. One of the, I think, excuses that this article gives is that you'll be more mobile, or it'll be easy to transfer assets and to have cash or something. You will be rootless totally. You will be a rootless cosmopolitanite and you will be happy. So it's the same thing. So the same idea where you have a big corporation pushing something that allows them to make money and corrupt souls, and then some media outlet, some propaganda outlet backing them up. And this pattern repeats again and again. But of course, while they're telling you you will be happy if you don't own a thing, they're buying up stuff. They're multiple houses. Bill Gates is buying hundreds of acres, if not thousands of acres. I think more than that. He wants land. He wants to own. They want more houses. They want more acreage. But they tell you that it's better to rent. So you see what they're doing. I think they call this hypocritical. They are hypocrites, liars, like Chuck Todd is. Unless he misspoke, unless someone gave him the bad info, and he, trying to spread the truth, uttered a lie to how many ever people were watching his dumb show. Probably not that much, actually. All right, we have a user on my forum, Factus IRX. He says the following: Bill Gates buys the farms, BlackRock buys the suburbs. They're going to make you live in the city so you can never escape the enrichment. You'll have your mandated government-provided box. You will receive your weekly government stipend that's tied to your social credit score. You'll get your daily supply of bugs for nutrients. Gas cars will be outlawed so you can never leave the city. You can choose between getting shot by Tyrone for being Whitey or shot by Karen, the police officer, for not having your vaccine passport. Yep, things are starting to make sense. End quote. What a time to be alive. So what the oligarchs are doing, they're applying shock and awe tactics on us to destroy us. It's almost like a creative destruction of the American economy and the American citizen to ensure everlasting power for the psychotics at the very top. It's like a mafia that has gone mad, but this mafia has power, and a lot of it. In fact, I rather be under the thumb of a genuine mafia, because from what I read, they take care of the clients that pay them money for protection. So if you were doing business with the Italian mafia and you pay them a few $100s a month to quote unquote protect your storefront, and some big baddie is trying to hurt your store, they'll actually do something. But here, the mafia that rules over us, man, they are insane. They are insane. They have been accused credibly of abusing children. I think the Jeffrey Epstein case is a tip of the iceberg. They are, how do you say, satanic pedophiles. The meme is true. That's what they are. But because of their unlimited money that they have, they can hire the smartest people to maintain their power to continue doing what they do. And so a lot of these shock doctrine ideas, the U.S. government was doing onto other countries to corrupt these other countries, to promote a regime change, and now they're doing it on us. It's just like how the U.S. military uses its newest gear on foreign countries to perfect it, and then things like spying drones, it's eventually brought back home to use on us. So from this story in the American Sun, the quote is, "Shock doctrine is a great title to label the multiple instances where the machinery of big business, the U.S. foreign policy apparatus, and academia could install economic policies known as the Washington Consensus. In short, create a crisis, install a new government, while everyone is reeling, this team installs the new economic policies. And if there is failure and chaos, keep instituting more and more free trade, free floating prices and wages, and austerity. It is a banker's delight. Capital can move freely and speculate for quick gains while the masses get burned by the economic shock." You look at those at the top, they're making billions more. Every one of the oligarchs in the past year has making more money than they can humanly spend, while us at the bottom can't even buy a house, cannot even buy a house, while children everywhere are being force-fed a steady diet of race and gay propaganda. So they're really coming after us hard. Can we endure this? Can we endure this shock that the elites are putting onto us because they are psychos? Well, let's take the words of a saint in the Orthodox Church, Saint John the Long-Suffering, who had a particular bad case of lust that took him a long time to fight. What did he say? So he is addressing God, and he says, "Lord, why did you leave me for so long in torment?" And the answer was, "I tried you." The answer from God was, "I tried you according to the power of your endurance. I brought upon you temptation so that you might be purified like gold. It is to the strong and powerful servants that a master assigns the heavy work and the easy tasks, to the infirm and to the weak." So, in other words, we have to feel complimented that we have to go through this, that God knows that we can go through this as long as we lean on Him. That's the key. It's not on our own power that we're going to make it through, because who can make it through this? You have a direct, sustained attack from all angles by those who are supposed to protect us. The government is supposed to help us to protect the weak from the vultures and the wolves, but they are attacking us. They are portraying themselves as the shepherd, but they are killing the sheep. So how can we endure that? Well, God wouldn't have put us in this time if we couldn't. So we're just going to have to count on him. But it's going to get tough. It is going to get tough. Now, what's going to happen to the United States as a nation? People wonder, is it going to be a civil war? Is it going to break up? So here on Vox Day's blog, he shares a passage from someone who has been through the Yugoslavian war that broke up Yugoslavia into many countries like Croatia, Serbia, and Montenegro, and so on. And so this is a little bit of a red pill that we have to understand that there may not be a knight in shining armor in this life that's going to really make this easier to deal with. So, okay, let me read this. A survivor of the collapse of Yugoslavia offers a rather disturbing perspective of the current situation in the USA to Americans and Canadians. Yugoslavia was a multi-ethnic country with worldwide influence and huge military might. It had a huge security apparatus and kept everyone in check by socialist federal spending. As someone who experienced the collapse of Yugoslavia, let me tell you Americans a couple of things. Number one, there are no white hats. Number two, your country is collapsing because there is not enough money to keep the system working. Number three, nobody has a plan, good or evil. Nobody is in control. Number four, all foreign powers are helping accelerate the collapse. Number five, your country will be robbed before, during, and after the war. Number six, the robbing starts with hyperinflation. Number seven, there will be international peacekeepers on your territory. Number eight, do not try to change the internal state borders. It does not work. Number nine, last one, ethnic cleansing actually works. Well, from the perspective of those doing it. That's kind of a big ouch. One thing that I have come to notice, number one, there are no white hats. I can come to see that as the complete truth, because if there were, they would have done something. There's not a portion of white hats in the government who are going to save the day. No, that time has definitely passed. I think if they had a chance to do something, it would have been in the presidential election late last year. What got me is which one got me? Your country will be robbed before, during, and after. So we want to see justice now. We want to see justice in this life, that those who are doing harm are sent to the gallows. I mean, people who really cause a lot of damage, who, crimes against humanity. But they have a plan to endure, to keep their power and their wealth, and we don't. So it doesn't look like justice will be had for us here. So the game for us is to maintain our faith while the country collapses around us into economic catastrophe and moral sewage. That's what the battle will be. It's going to be more a spiritual battle than a physical one. It's going to be tough. But that's what we'll be called to do. But is the anger starting to rise? I think it is. But I don't know how much that's going to really change things. But here is a video of the French President Macron getting slapped in the face
Vite! Oh putain, je l'ai plus là. Allez! Allez, venez là! Un petit coup! Oula, 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 oula! Viens là! Oula, oula! Oh! Oh non!
How could he
Ils
slap?
sont cons, quoi! Oh! Oh non, mais n'importe quoi!
How could he slap? How could he slap me? Yeah, I mean, that's fine and all, but we're going to need a lot more slaps to change the fundamental equation that we are dealing with. In the meantime, what I'm doing, calling out the you-know-whos, that's like the basics. That's Truth 101, man. Truth 101, I'm able to do on DLive for now. But we're still not allowed to do that. On any TV channel, you're not allowed to do that. Let's stay in France. Let's see what happens when a man insinuated that the Jews control the media. Now, it's in French, but so those on the podcast are not going to really get it. But if you're watching now on the video, the guy on the right, he's about to name them. And the guy on the left looks to me like a Jewish news anchor. His physiognomy looks Jewish to me, but I don't know. So they're about to ask him, who does he think runs the media? And let's hear what happens.
Donc on vous pose la question, la tribune diplomatique internationale, l'hypothèse d'une fraude importante appliquée à quelques États clés le jour du scrutin est-elle crédible? On parle des États-Unis. Mon intime conviction me dit que oui, car il y a à mes yeux trop d'indices concordants pour permettre à la meute médiatique occidentale dont nous savons qui la contrôle de me convaincre du contraire. Donc j'ai une question à vous poser. Qui contrôle la meute médiatique?
Okay, so he read a quote, and then in a very aggressive way, the news announcer is like, who controls the media? Qui is who? Okay, let's see what the general to respond. Let's see what he does.
J'ai bien envie de savoir également.
Général de la Ward.
And the news anchor is shaking. He is literally shaking. His head is bobbing up and down. He's fired up.
Regardez
qui contrôle la meute médiatique dans le monde et en France.
So the guy says, well, you know who controls the media in France and the entire world.
Qui contrôle le Washington Post?
Who controls the Washington Post? Who controls the New York Times? Who controls in France the biggest news channel?
Et tous les journaux qui...
And the news anchor is shaking. He's shaking.
Qui viennent
He's about to pass out.
se grouper autour.
Qui
Qui sont ces gens?
Qui?
Pardon?
Qui? Vous qui parlez de Dreyfus, monsieur. Qui?
Qui? Ben, c'est la communauté que vous connaissez bien.
So the news anchor is shaking violently. He says, Qui? And then the general says, well, it's the people, it's that community that you all know about, that we know about. And then this.
Ah non, mais alors là on va pas partir là-dessus. On va arrêter là. On va arrêter là.
And then shut it down. Shut it down now. They shut it down. He just insinuated it, and they had to shut it down. That news anchor almost had a seizure live on air. I mean, that's just how far from the truth you're allowed to share on TV. And the internet, at least in the social networks, is not that much better. Let's take a look at what Facebook is up to. Facebook, who's owned by Zuckerberg. And just to know who you are ruled over, it's so clear. It's crystal clear. Crystal clear. Yeah, that one's better. Klaus Schwab is on that one. I know who rules over me. Okay. I mean, can you believe that there are people who don't believe the Jews have a disproportionate amount of power in banking, the media, Hollywood, academia, sports, and everywhere else. There are people who think it's a coincidence. They're coincidence theorists out there, people. This is just a coincidence that every Jew alive seems to control a news outlet. Okay, let's not focus on the Jews. It's really Satan that is behind it, but Satan seems to like hiring Jews, if you know what I mean. Wonder why that is. Okay, so Facebook, in order to shut it down, they're starting to get a little aggressive. A lot of people logged onto Facebook, and if you still have Facebook, I would question that. I think it's time now to get off that. It was time, like years ago. People who logged on received the following pop-up. You may have been exposed to harmful extremist content recently. Violent groups try to manipulate your anger and disappointment. You can take action now to protect yourself and others. This is what they do. They manipulate your anger and disappointment. They channel it away from where it should be channeled to. So they're telling you what they're doing. This is what pop-ups like this do. So they're now warning you that you may have, and what is harmful extremist content? What is that a euphemism for? The truth. The truth, that's it. So you may have been exposed to the truth. We have to stop that. And here's another one that says, are you concerned that someone you know is becoming an extremist? We care about preventing extremism on Facebook. Others in your situation have received confidential support. So what this is saying is, are you concerned that someone you know is learning the truth? Stop them now before they know too much truth. Now they have some talking points. So if you click through on these, they're trying to educate you because you have been exposed to the truth, and we need to get that out of your head immediately. So let's see some of the talking points that this is on Facebook's pages. They say, hate groups, which include you and I, hate groups oversimplify problems by blaming them on one group of people. Some groups claim the problem is the immigrants, while others claim it is the Jews, the black community, and or another group. And then it goes on. Conspiracy theories about Jewish people were created by Russian secret police in the early 20th century. They were then used by Nazi Germany and the Islamic Republic of Iran to justify violence towards Jews. The Russian secret police were the Jews. They were the Jews, Zuckerberg. Can you stop lying for 1 second? Communism in Russia was a Jewish movement. The Bolsheviks were Jews, at least half of them. Lenin was a Jew. Marx, Jew. The secret police, those tasked with apprehending and executing people, were disproportionately Jews. That's a fact. And are you saying that the United States would be better if we took away the immigrants, the Jews, and the blacks? You said it. I like God's creatures. I'm not saying that. But it's like lie on top of lie. I don't know how much lying I can really take. I just don't know. So how can we respond? What can we do? Oh, wait, hold on. There is one more slide from Facebook. And it says, Did you know that Jewish people account for only 0.2% of the global population and do not exercise any more power or control than any other group? That's a lie. That's what makes the Jewish race so incredible. There's such a tiny percentage of people, but they have such power, worldly power. Man, I know Satan, he promised Christ the entire power, all the power, the kingdoms of the world. And Christ said no. I wonder if the human Jews, when offered that deal by Satan, would say yes. But yeah, that fact actually makes me hate Jews even more. And by hate, I don't really mean hate, but makes me be aware of them even more. Thanks, Mark. 0.2%, and they have this much power. Man, either they're geniuses with high IQs, but not that high. Asians have higher IQs. So why is it they're so good with power? Who ultimately controls the power of the world? So if I want worldly power, who do I have to make a deal with? Double Yeah, things are more clear now. Anti-Semitic feelings rising. I'm only joking. So I don't hate the Jew. I don't hate them. I'm just aware of them. It's a big difference. Okay, so how can we respond? Is there a way that we can control this? Is there a way that we can defeat the powerful corporations? The answer is no, we cannot. We cannot on our own defeat BlackRock buying all the houses, hundreds of thousands of houses. We can't defeat all the corporations pushing sodomy, grooming children. We can't support massive trillion-dollar companies doing whatever they want, acting like a nation state, not having to obey the laws. We can't control Klaus Schwab, what he's doing, Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci. We can't control that. We can be aware of it. We can share the truth of what's happening, and the truth is frightening them. If the truth wasn't frightening them, Facebook wouldn't have to put up those ridiculous pop-ups. The French TV announcer wouldn't have to lose his marbles on TV. There wouldn't be such censorship. So the truth hurts them. Just sharing the truth alone, that hurts them. I think what we should focus on is avoiding despair while laboring for God, putting in spiritual labors that develop our faith, that make us more resistant to falling for one of these tricks that the oligarch puts onto us because we enter a state of fear or because we desire more comfort. The stronger our faith is, the more likely we'll be able to resist the next round of shock that comes. So while today you refuse to get the vaccine as I do, and maybe we're a little bit proud of that. Yeah, I'm not going to fall for this dumb trick and inject myself with a poison just to fly on airplanes or this and that. The next round of shock is not going to be as easy as resisting as now. So let's not get a little bit too howdy. Howdy? Is that how you say that word? Let's not get a little too prideful about our strength, that this is just the beginning. But I wanted to share some good words from Saint Dmitry of Rostov. And let me pull up the article I found them in. Found in a blog that I like to share often, the Inkless Pen by Orthodox priest Zechariah Lynch. And you can search for this article. The title is Seek Diligently the Things of Salvation. Let me read to you a couple of quotes. So this is from Saint Dmitry. He says, "You will never find peace and rest in this present life, nor receive from it stillness and calm. Therefore, as long as you have breath, always be ready for battle. This world is not a place for rest and relaxation, but diligence and action. So ready yourself, labor while you have time. For even though you may greatly desire to recapture the time which you have spent on uselessness, you will not be able. An appointed time is allotted, and another will not be given to you in this age. Now, of your own free will, labor just a little, so that afterward you will be delivered from the many undesired everlasting miseries. Labor zealously for a short time, so thereafter you will receive a multitude of grace from the Lord and be counted worthy of life eternal. And he also says, why are you so slothful? Why are you wasting the time given to you? Have you somehow already finished? Have you somehow already conquered? Are there somehow no more battles? Or are you already perfectly united to God? What are you doing? What are you acquiring? Behold, the market is closing. The sun is setting in the west. Judgment is at the door. The harvest is coming in. And day after day, your life is drawing to its end. Will you continue sleeping instead of laboring? Do you think that someone can sleep through the time for sowing and then wake up at harvest time and begin to reap sheaves? Who collects grapes from vines which they have never planted? To the one who labors belongs the fruit. Why then do you not labor? Why do you not work? Why are you not gathering while you still have the time? The time is coming when you will not be able to take action. The time allotted for your life is like a single day. Call upon the Lord, diligently work, be watchful, redeem the time, and take action. Gather and reap while it is the harvest, while you have good weather, while night is yet to come, while it is not yet winter, because when the day ends, you may desire to take action, but you will be unable. End quote. Of course, he means not the labor of going to work every day, but the spiritual. So why don't you pray, read your scripture, go to church, do good deeds, and things like that. Okay. All right, so this may be your last chance to leave a super chat as I get to the end. Just have a few more things that I want to share, and then we'll call it a show. So speaking of orthodoxy, it looks like I'm on some kind of list. So here is a tweet from fellow ortho bro Luke Kendrat, who does the live stream Orthodoxy First. He says, a friendly priest messaged me today to notify me that there is a certain OCA priest who is, quote, monitoring Jay, Roosh, Cisco, and myself because we are Groiperdox. Too bad we are inevitable. So I'm in Rocor. I'm not in the OCA. So an OCA priest can't excommunicate me. So he is monitoring us because we are Groiperdox, which is supposedly a play on the word Orthodox. Well, if that's the case, I mean, if being Groiperdox is from the other names as being a traditional Orthodox Christian, then I am proud to be Groiperdox. I've always wanted to be a Groiper, but I thought I was too old to be one. So I don't know, that would be a shame if a priest is preparing to persecute us. As far as I know, we've not been accused of saying a lie. So what? Because we didn't get the vaccine or something? I don't know. I mean, I've only been like an Orthodox Christian for 2 months, and already they're agitating against me. Oh, there will be no peace in this life, I know. And now let's see what the Patriarch of Moscow, who is the Patriarch of Rocor, let's see if he is based or not. So because I want to play a 40-second clip that of a little part of, I guess, a sermon that he made. And I'm going to read it in English since he speaks in the Russian. So let me get going.
То же самое нам говорят про аборты.
Some want abortion. We say no. We bring in the people, the women and men who have committed this horrible sin through sacrament of confession. But we will never accept it as something normal. We will never accept divorce as something normal. We will never accept adultery. When this truth collapses before the modern culture, look at that cinematography, literature, and so on. We will still always say no. And they shall call us backward, old, illiterate. That's based, super based. Thank God I have a patriarch that's so based. Called out all the major sins, which you would think should be done by all Christian leaders, but you would be wrong. Not many do it. Thank you, Patriarch Kirill. There's a shepherd that's doing his best to take care of his flock. Hold on, someone left a nasty comment in the chat that I don't usually go out to ban, but I have to ban this guy. Blasphemy is not allowed. Be gone, Satan. Banned. Feel a lot better now. Banned forever. Forever and ever. Please don't use vulgar language. I don't appreciate it. Okay, back to what happened. I was banned. Speaking of banned, what goes around comes around. I was banned from DonorBox, which is a service that facilitates you receiving donations online. And while this isn't a financial service like PayPal or Stripe, they provide an important service, and they helped me to collect donations from people who read me for the past year or so. And they said that one of their rules is, quote, using dehumanizing rhetoric to refer to another racial group, regardless of whether such characterizations are directly involved in the use of DonorBox services or not. So if you in your personal life use terms against a racial group that DonorBox doesn't like, they ban you, and they ban me. So I don't know. Just add it to the list of companies that just hate me. And I think I have a new donor page. Let me go to, if you go to rooshv.com, I'll have to update that. And you see there's going to be a donate, a blue button if you're on like a laptop. And if you click that, you see ways that you can donate to me. Check by mail, crypto. Yeah, I guess donations help because my income is pretty low, but that's fine, whatever. I don't have a kid. I don't have kids, so it's not a big deal. I'm not starving or anything. I don't have any bills. I don't have. My biggest outlay is hosting charges to host my sites, but that's not bad. What are my expenses? Bulking up at the gym. No, I'm kidding. Okay, what's next? So guess who I got to meet? Well, it's not the first time. Hold on. I don't like that white bar at the top. Can I try to fix it? So I attended a speaking event in Indiana, and it was an implicitly Orthodox event, but the keynote speaker was Catholic intellectual Dr. E. Michael Jones. And look how happy I was. I was very happy. He is like my second dad, kind of. So you don't see me smile often. But I had a chance to talk to him a lot, and that was great. I had a good time. And I hope there are more implicit Orthodox events in the future. Also, next week I'm going to announce I'll be speaking in Atlanta, Georgia in September. So that's a bit of a ways off, but it's going to be, details of the event will be on my blog, rooshv.com, by the end of next week. And let's see I've written a lot since I last did a stream. I'll just show you a couple of the new articles. Then we'll get to the super chats. So if you want to leave a super chat, now is like your last call. Here is one article I did called Managed Life. Modern Life is a Managed Terror, in the sense of if God is far from you, every day you're doing things to just suspend the terror that you feel. And I give examples of what that terror is actually like. Here I did another article, 14 Things I Learned as a Construction Worker in Alabama. And the picture is of a Chad. And this came out pretty good. I think a lot of people, they like this article because a lot of men are considering this line of work, especially now, especially where like the trades are more a path to freedom than working an office job where they're going to surveil you, put you under a feminist boss, force you to get the vaccine, and so on. And here's a controversial article I did, 5 reasons St. Louis is the best big city in America. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but let's just say I would want to live in a city where not everyone is flocking to. Everyone is flocking to Austin and Charlotte and Nashville. Yeah, they're good now. Just give it a couple years, because all those people flocking, when they bring their truck of furniture, they're also bringing their baggage of sins that ruin the place that they left, probably. So I don't trust people who move to a new location without repenting, because they're just going to bring that location to the new place. Nashville is going to become a dump soon. Watch. It's good now, but you're going to have to move out of there soon. So go to places that no one cares about. I think St. Louis, which overall sucks, but in terms of American cities, if you stay out of the east part of the city, which is extremely vibrant, murderous too. If you stay out of the east, it's livable. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's paradise. There's no city in the United States. I don't even recommend you live in a big city anyway, but this isn't bad. And I've been to a lot of cities that are big. Avoid the influx. You don't want that. You don't want people fleeing from California and Illinois and New York and whatever crap hole cesspool they are from. So that's one thing that St. Louis has going for it. And also, I put out a new edition of my book for women, Lady. I didn't promote it too much because Lady was written when I was a secular man. So it's a secular book. It's really a book for women who have failed with dating, in the sense of kind of got used, abused. Men didn't commit, and they need a path forward on how without God. So it's basically trying to achieve love without God. Good luck. But I like to think of this as a bridge to women getting to God. I don't know if it's serving a good or not. So that's why, again, I don't promote this book heavily, because I don't know if it's a good book. I don't know if it really helps people. But if you have a sister or a lady friend who is far from God and is getting pumped and dumped and just really hurting herself on Tinder, this book could help. But she's already a Christian, devout. She doesn't need this book unless she wants to read it from like a research perspective, right? So anyway, this article, Finding a Husband with God's Help, is the prologue that I just put out, a prologue that I added to clarify some of the secular positions in the book so that Christian women who read this book wouldn't be confused. So the prologue is free. You can go on my site and read it. It's pretty long, and I don't think it's bad. But it's kind of like an update to the book, because the book itself says, oh, it's okay to sleep with the guy on this date, and I don't support that anymore. So I put out the new edition to clarify what I believe now as an Orthodox Christian. And I'm done. So let's go look at the super chats. And you can leave one by clicking the entropy link below. Okay, let's start. Super chats are fun, right? Let's start with Victor Ziegler. He donates and says, or I don't know if this is... Anyway, he says, I liked your chat with Milo. He seemed genuine. We should support him. So yeah, I did a live stream with Milo that was, I don't want to say hostile, but it was combative at times. And the reason it was combative was because my pride was a little bit high, in the sense of I went into the interview believing firmly that I have the truth. I'm in the Orthodox Church. I am correct. And Milo is in the Roman Catholic Church, and he may not be receiving the proper spiritual guidance, and I'm going to fix it here. I'm going to fix it publicly. I mean, that's kind of the subtle mindset I had when going into it. Now, I have to ask myself, so it was like it wasn't an intervention, but there was an interventionist aspect to it. Not trying to convert him, but there was an interventionist aspect. Now I have to ask myself, did I convert because someone did an intervention or a somewhat stern interview with me online? No. So why did I do that? I don't know. So I think I have to learn from interviews like this, that even if I'm patient and calm still, I don't think I was as interested in learning his viewpoints as I was telling him my own. So, hey, people, they don't like being pushed. Don't push people. And I may have pushed them a little bit, not that much, not enough to jeopardize our internet friendship. But you have to be careful. Unless people come to you with interest in something, just leave them be. You can pray for them and maybe give them a word here or there, but don't push people. It doesn't help. So that's one thing that I learned from that. And I'm glad it didn't get too hostile, but it was a little bit heated at times. Okay. Victor also shares, hold on, God, the screen is so little. He says, I read an article, trans species man who self-identifies as a deer accidentally shot by hunters. I don't know if it's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. The time will come when people with scrubs, thinking they're crocodiles, swim through the canals of Amsterdam. Yeah, as my stream, as now we get to the end, I showed a lot of things that were just outrageous. I mean, it's just, I think for me, the peak of it was the young girl saying that she is now Theo. She's a man, and the crowd is like, yay. That is kind of messed up. Okay, Michael Miller says, the secular gurus of the manosphere seem increasingly hypocritical. They encourage men to be promiscuous and then lament the degeneration of the West. Do we need to start calling them out on this? Yeah, that's what I did, actually. When I was in the manosphere and my passions were out of control, was doing whatever I wanted to do in public. At the same time, I was complaining that, things are getting bad. So, yeah, I think that the manosphere should be serving as a stepping stone, for men to start to learn about the truth in a somewhat paced manner, and then you jump from this carnal aspect of life into Christ. And a lot of men, they want to stay in the gutter, and that's what the manosphere is. At least, when Return of Kings closed, that was the end. Now, what the manosphere, and I'm going to share more about this in an article I have coming up, but what the manosphere has degenerated to is basically a purely commercial vulgarity of infighting, emotional drama, overblown marketing promises. It's really a nasty place now, because you have a couple people who are involved in it that, have, I guess you can say, are out of control. So that's I'm going to be making comments about that soon. Ghost 999 says, according to Serge Manast, the New World Order symbol is the rainbow, and actually one has to cross a rainbow bridge, symbolizing acceptance of Satan to become part of the NWO. I think he's referring to the horses. So the horses refuse to cross the gay pride crosswalk. And the funny thing is, in my book, when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, I think it was, I recount me refusing to walk on the gay pride crosswalk. So I'm like a horse now. That's like an upgrade, because humans are it's one way evolution is false is that the highest species on Earth, human beings, are descending, are doing the filthiest, most unnatural, most brain dead, self-harmful behaviors. That's how that's on its face, evolution is false. When we're at the peak of this species progress, and you're having a grown adult female declare herself as a man and mutilating, slicing her breasts off. What kind of evolution is this? No, that's just, and one of the ways that I knew that evolution was false is because with all the skill I had at meeting girls, why didn't I have kids? Isn't that the goal? To have kids at some point? Why was I avoiding it? Why were women killing kids? Because evolution can't work in a sterile environment. So anyway, I did actually, I want you to check out an article I wrote about that. Let me find it. Okay, here it is. The theory of evolution is incompatible with Christianity. I don't want to hear it anymore. Oh, evolution and Christianity can coexist. No. Evolution is a lie. It's a lie. It has nothing to do whether it's compatible. It's a lie. So therefore, whatever is a lie, whatever is not truth, cannot be compatible with Christ. It cannot be. So I highly advise you to read this, especially if you are a Christian and you have friends that believe in this lie. Okay. A rebel without a general says, I am afraid I will have to fight in this coming civil war, but I do not trust the future leadership. I have some terrible fear I will be serving under General Mitch McConnell. Yeah, I would fear that too. Well, I think fear is not of God. I mean, fear is not of God. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of losing? Because if you are a Christian, there's nothing that a man in this world can do that can take away from you what God gives you. They can hurt your body, they can make you feel upset, but your soul, where your soul goes, is ultimately in your hands. And if you're more concerned than things that concern your soul, then you may have made an idol in this world, in this life. So you may have to self-examine your faith. But yeah, I mean, we are still humans and we do get fear, but we have to address that fear instantly in a spiritual manner. You're not going to address a fear of the oligarchs coming by stocking up on guns. That's just not going to work. And that's what the boomer conservatives do, sharing their gun means. I'm not saying don't own guns, but that's not going to alleviate your fear. It's not going to save you. Only God saves. Guns is something that may help you serve your duties before God to protect your family, but to think that you're going to, with this big arsenal, come after, a gun, okay, you're going to be able to dispatch a mugger, a burglar, just a couple of teens doing things that they shouldn't. But you think your guns are going to help stop a SWAT team by agents of the regime? No. Okay, thank you for that. Roger Scruton, U.S. donates $5. He says, ever consider moving permanently to South Alabama? I visited for the first time last summer, and what stood out to me was how normal people acted. From what I saw, there were no women with blue hair or soy boys. Stark contrast to a place like Wisconsin or Minnesota. The funny thing is, for me to become a normal man, I needed divine intervention. That's so just being normal in a mad time shows that that person is either really close to the truth or close to God. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to become normal. I'm trying to take away the abnormal beliefs and behaviors and, frankly, psychotic ways of approaching human relationships and so on to become normal. And I've come a long way, and still some ways to go. But so yes, I would like to live around normal people. But, the way I see things is that to move, whether to another state or to another country, that's just going to buy time. So yes, if I move to Alabama, maybe I'll have 3, 5, maybe 10 more years of peace, and then where things are genuinely better than living in the Washington, D.C. area. And then the rot is going to come there too. So I don't see any country in the world that is going to be immune to this, immune to what is coming, to the satanic plan. So do I need to buy time? I don't think I need to buy time. I think I'm spiritually where I need to be. I think I have the tools in the church. I think I have the support I need. So I'm ready to face it now, because I think moving in some ways is kicking the can down the road. And but if you have a family, if you have economic concerns where moving is a better idea for you, I'm not telling you not to do it. But for me, what is moving going to accomplish? Is the supermarket going to be a little bit better, like one less gay flag? I don't know if, for me, moving to a better place is going to serve me in the spiritual sense. But if it will for you, then yes. Giorgio Guaglione says, are you going to vigil today, Groyper Docs, bro? Obviously not now. No. I think today my church was having the Vespers instead of the vigil. But the vigils I like to go to, but the Vespers, sometimes not. Yes, I know. I'm not a good Orthodox Christian. Florida Man 12 says, Roosh, you are more of a Groyper than Milk Toast, Michelle Malkin, and Laura Lumberg. Love you, bro. Yeah, I don't follow their work too much currently, but I hope they are both doing well. Carlota says, I really appreciate the spirit of your streams, but why do you have to show so much evil every time? It's very depressing, and your audience knows this already. Good question, Carlota. Well, one is because this stream was numbered 66, so I think it was maybe suitable to show the evil. But all joking aside, my streams are based on current events. That's the outline of it. And until current events gets better, there's not going to be much good news to really share. I think this can be beneficial for people to know what is going on and to have a spiritual perspective. So as you see, I share a lot of spiritual views, Christian views from the saints and so on, to put it in perspective. So while it can be depressing momentarily, I hope the way I present it doesn't put you into despair. The truth shouldn't. So the truth shouldn't put you into despair. And I apologize to anyone who are too overcome by these streams and they feel these moments of despondency and so on. That's not my intention. But yeah, it's kind of heavy. What's happening in the world is evil. It's really evil stuff. And I can tell you, though, I don't every day search for hours on this kind of news. If I did that, that would psychologically affect me. But I think it's okay to know what is going on. But if my streams are putting you into a state that, that you can't get out of in a timely way, or that doesn't feel like it's helping you grow spiritually, it's not getting you to the truth, then you should stay away from them. But I appreciate the feedback. I don't want that. But the nature of the streams, the medium is like that. If you want something that isn't like that, I highly advise you to read the articles that I publish. Go to rooshv.com. There's not much current news there, so it's a lot of big-brained ideas and things like that, which are better. But yeah, as long as the format is news, which this stream is, it's going to be depressing. But hopefully just for a moment, right? Tud donates $10. He gives me a salute. Thank you. Anon says, God bless you, Roosh. Thank you. Fireman 12S says, coming down to DC this weekend, going to the Basilica on Sunday. I'll send you an email. Great. Thank you, Fireman. So yeah, that's all I have. That's all I have. Actually, let me end the show with a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. And not me singing it, but I've found a wholesome family on YouTube that sings. Let me find them. Okay, here it is. So you may have heard of them. They're called the Petersons. The Petersons. And no, it's not Jordan Peterson's family. It's another one. And they are a white family, triggered, very white and very wholesome. So let's hear their rendition of the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Super wholesome. Okay, well, is there anything else I wanted to add? Well, no, that's all. So I hope your Independence Day is fine and your dogs aren't scared by the fireworks. And God bless the United States. It really needs a blessing from God because things are going the wrong way. But if you're watching me, I think the truth isn't far from you. So keep God close. And until next time, God bless you.